As promised, candidates for the local station board. You're up first.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Steinberg, and I am speaking to you on behalf of the fair campaign provisions of the local station board's election. And I am speaking not only for myself, but on behalf of all the independent candidates. And those candidates are myself, Alex Steinberg, Mitchell Cohen, Carolyn McIntyre, Michael D. White, Jim Dingman, Maxine Harrison-Galmon, Marilyn Vogt-Downey, Jack DePalma, Michael Jankowitz, Catherine O'Sullivan, Linda Zeisis, Neil Voss, Carolyn Burden, and last but not least, Randy Credico. And here's what I'd like to say. We stand for an independent WBAI as part of a potentially great network, Pacifica, with 5 radio stations in some of the largest media markets in the country. We want to see Pacifica and WBAI reach a mass audience and realize its potential to become a beacon of opposition to imperialism, social inequality, racism, and xenophobia. Only our candidates, the independent candidates, have pledged to keep WBAI independent. We have all taken a pledge that there will be no sale, swap, or lease of WBAI. Our opponents in this election, the so-called Justice and Unity slate, have refused to sign that pledge and, in fact, actively are supporting a PSOA agreement with Manhattan Neighborhood Network. For those of you who don't know, a PSOA agreement is a kind of a lease, but it's actually a lease that has no end to it, or you might say the termination point will be the takeover of WBAI by Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And this is a terrible idea for many ways. Let me give you one reason. First of all, this will do nothing to pay off Pacifica's debt, as PSOA agreements are barred from paying the debts of a station. They are only allowed to pay operating costs going forward. Also, WBAI's current lease with 4 Times Square is modest enough that it could be sustained by WBAI, unlike the onerous lease we used to have with 4 Times Square, which was 4 times the current lease that we have now with let me back up. Unlike the lease we used to have with Empire State, that was 4 times as much as we're now paying to 4 Times Square. So there's no financial reason for WBAI to lease itself out. And number 2, WBAI would lose all control over programming content and will be managed by a self-selected board of directors that is not accountable to WBAI listeners. This will furthermore harm all the efforts that we have been undertaking to make Pacifica a nationwide network. Without a voice in the New York area, you can hardly be a nationwide network. Furthermore, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, although it does some good work, does not actually believe in free speech. They are there's a free speech case being taken to the Supreme Court involving the purge of a producer named D.D. Halleck from the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I can't go into the details of that case, but you can just Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Furthermore, are those people advocating the PSOA to Manhattan Neighborhood Network, they're calling it a partnership. This is completely misleading. There's no such thing as a partnership where you give up all control over your broadcasting, you give up all control over your staff, and you know that there is no exit from this kind of a quote partnership. It's a complete butchery of the English language to call this a partnership. It is what it is a takeover, and let's be clear about that. Now, the other thing I want to say is that we believe that WBAI can realize its potential, and those of us, the independent candidates, have been working hard to make WBAI sustainable. And we have a voting record that you can check, and you can also check the record of the other people that are running. Here's our voting record. We supported a negotiated agreement with Empire State, WBAI's former landlord, that released us 2 years ahead of time from the onerous lease, about $70,000 a month and rising. That could have bankrupted the entire network. This represented a cost savings of $1.3 million. We helped management in negotiating a new lease with 4 Times Square that not only cut our monthly tower rent by 75%, but also gave us a better signal and brand new transmitter with potential for HD broadcasts. We helped negotiate a loan on very good terms that saved Pacifica from bankruptcy. The loan buys us time to reconfigure Pacifica to reach a mass audience. We succeeded in hiring a new professional management with broadcasting experience to oversee Pacifica after years of managerial neglect and malfeasance. We hired a professional accounting firm to take over much of Pacifica's financial operations, which had been deficient due to lack of staff and turnover for many years. And with the help of dedicated volunteers from WBAI, we made sure that the 2016 audit was completed and are working toward the completion of the 2017 audit. If we are ever going to get our CPB funding restored, which could give us at least another $300,000 a year just for WBAI, we absolutely need to make sure these audits get done. We have also been working diligently in collaboration with Pacifica Management in coming up with a viable strategic plan in order to reconfigure all of Pacifica so that we can pay off all debts and move into 21st century technology. And by way of contrast, what has the record of the Justice and Unity people been in the past 2 years? First of all, they failed to support the agreement with Empire State, suggesting as an alternative that WBAI lease itself out to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. They failed to support the agreement with 4 Times Square to lower our rent by 75%. They bitterly opposed the loan that allowed Pacifica to avoid bankruptcy. They opposed the hiring of professional management. They opposed and continue to oppose the hiring of a professional accounting firm. And they actually voted against accepting the 2016 audit. That one is on the public record. You can go to the archives and listen. Had their votes prevailed, Pacifica would have actually lost its nonprofit status. They have opposed all efforts to develop a strategic plan to pay off Pacifica's debts. Again, just look at their voting record. You don't have to take my word for it. Many of these votes were on closed sessions of the Pacifica National Board, of which I am a member. I can tell you that I supported all those measures. If the Pacifica National Board members representing Justice and Unity want to make their vote public, they can. So far, they have not. Anyway, we support the democratic right of listeners to elect their representatives to the local station board, and that's why we're having these elections. We've worked diligently to make sure these elections get done in a timely manner. We understand that there's been lots and lots of problems with these elections. These are problems that have been inherited. And there's many reasons for them. I cannot go into all of them. But the other people running have actually tried to cancel the elections. That's also part of the voting record. You could look that one up as well. Anyway, I want to finish up.
Mitchell Cohen is also here. He'd like to say something.
Okay. So anyway, I'd just like to finish by saying please vote for the independent candidates for the local station board and only the independent candidates. Thank you. This is Alex Steinberg signing off.
Mitchell?
Yep.
Go ahead.
More. Yep.
Speak your piece.
Hi, good morning, WBAI. What a crazy thing to have to talk about early on a Saturday morning. Look, my name is Mitchell Cohen. I'm only allowed a few seconds to alert the listeners to what's really happening with the WBAI elections. And Alex just ran through some stuff. Very good. A very detailed report. And it's very good that he laid it out there finally, publicly. We've been allowed to beginning to explain what's going on. Look, a group of candidates are pushing to lease out and privatize the station. And another group, known as the Independents, are trying to prevent that from happening. I'm part of that. And keep the station under listener sponsorship. That is the main issue in this election. So I ask you to vote for me and the other independent candidates who are trying to alert you to what's going down and prevent the theft of WBAI. I call it a theft because that's what's happening and nobody knows about it. And apparently the wool has been pulled over a bunch of people's eyes, including the host of this very show of a few weeks ago. And people mean well, and they're making a big mistake. The Justice and Unity group pretends that their scheme to give away the station is a partnership with a corporate entity, but it's a lie. WBAI will be forever gone as a democratic, listener-sponsored radio station if the Justice and Unity thieves have their way and succeed in leasing out the station. And that's what they're trying to do. And nobody knows about it. Listeners of WBAI, and especially David Rothenberg. Look, I'm a former chair of WBAI's Local Station Board. I'm telling you the truth. Please only vote for those candidates who say no to leasing, no to sale, and no to swap of
Your time is up.
WBAI.
Your time is up.
Okay.
One of the exciting shows that are coming off Broadway